What's up, Scott? I think we're live now.
Awesome. What's going on?
I mean, it's just a great day in Philadelphia. What else could you ask for?
Absolutely. Sun is shining and the birds are chirping. It's basically summer's around the corner, bro.
Yep. I mean, can't beat the 77-degree weather. Nice out and sunny. Perfect time to get out on a roof deck.
Yeah, I flew home today from the West Coast and I left 70-degree weather and I came home to 70-degree weather. So it's never a bad deal to have that on both coasts.
Can't beat that at all. So what's
No.
up, guys? Episode 12 of my channel, Self-Made. I mean, Scott, thank you so much for taking the time out of your day to fill this into your schedule. But to everyone out there who doesn't know Scott, Scott is a very, very dear friend of mine. What's really, really special about Scott is that at the age of 24, he sold two of his health clubs for $750,000 and $250,000, making him a millionaire. And what's crazy about that is he lost that all 2 years later. But Scott has over 30,000 hours of personally training clients. He has a huge passion for health and wellness, and he's now building a network marketing business with one of the fastest growing health and wellness companies in the world now. Scott, did you want to say what's up or just?
Yeah, what's up? And I mean that's pretty accurate, and it's funny because I kind of, for the longest time, I actually blocked out that time period where I sold my two gyms for $1 million, and 2 years later, through bad personal financing decisions and family decisions, I was 1.6 million in the hole. And things have kind of leveled out, so to speak, over the last 11 years, 12 years now, and my last gym is currently for sale. And the one thing that I realized is I had to find other ways to make money, because obviously the gym wasn't going to pay me, because any money that was made would have to be put right back into it. And that's when I really started to focus on personal training. And like you stated, I was a very busy personal trainer. I was training from 5 a.m. to 9 p.m. Monday through Thursday, basically half days on Fridays and Saturdays. The only day off I had was Sundays. And I was doing between 70 to 80 sessions a week. And that was consistent for about 10 years. And I'm close to 40,000 hours, but it was the life that I thought I wanted, but it wasn't. There was something else out there for me. And the health and wellness industry changed. I've been in it for 19 years now, and almost half my life. And it's different. And there's so many different avenues that you can go down to make it in this industry. And, the gym industry itself, unless you have a mass monster, like 30, 40,000 square feet where you can house 3,000-4,000 people, it becomes challenging when you have a local family-owned gym like myself.
So let's go back to when you were first going through school. Did you know that you were going to be a millionaire at 23?
Absolutely not. That was never the intention. Things just happen on purpose, not by accident. And I was going to school. I started off at the University of Pittsburgh. So I was a Pittsburgh Panther for 3 semesters, majored in partying pretty much, joined a fraternity, and my parents quickly pulled the plug on that party after 3 semesters and brought me home, and transferred to Temple. My passion then was following a group called Fish around the country and seeing music. Anywhere close to that, health and wellness wasn't even on the radar. So, my family had gotten their first gym when I was 18. So I basically was the front desk kid. I had a little Jew fro and big sideburns, and was wearing hemp everywhere and patchwork pants and Birkenstocks to the gym. Hadn't touched a weight. And I basically would work to save up money to buy concert tickets to travel around 3 weeks out of the summer. And then something kind of clicked. I was still going to school. I had transferred to Temple, and I was majoring in HR, which also kind of fell into my lap. And I thought I was a business major. And the funny story behind that is I was sitting in my guidance counselor's office, and we were going over class selections, and she goes, "It's your senior year." And I said, "Yeah." I said, "Can't wait to graduate. It's been it's been 5 long years. And she goes, yeah, but you have to declare a major. And I said, what do you mean declare a major? I said, I'm a business major. She goes, yes, but you need a focal area within that major. And I was like, okay, what have I done prerequisite wise that would give me a major? And she goes, HR. I'm like, sold. I'm an HR major. So basically, I had a couple other classes to fulfill that, and I graduated with a bachelor's in HR from University of Temple, and it actually kind of fit in with what I was doing, because aside from personal training at my first family-owned gym, I was also doing retention and recruitment, not only of members, but staff, and I was managing the club, so it actually fit hand in hand. And then I just started to really fall in love with the industry itself and what it embodied.
Okay, so you're falling in love with the industry. You had great work experience working at the gym that your parents bought when you were just 18. How did you grow that business? Did you just inherit those businesses from your parents and then just sell them off at 24?
So I'm really unzipping myself here. So when I was 18, my father has always been in the health and wellness industry, but he actually got himself caught up in some insurance things with a physical rehab company that he was with. Long story short, it landed him in prison for 2.5 years. And that's basically another reason why I was pulled out of college, because they said, we're buying the family a gym. It's in your name. You are the owner, and you are going to be running it while I'm gone. So basically, at 19, I was handed a $300,000 business with my mother, and later my cousin came in. But basically, I was left to run it. He started it. He grew it from about 150 members to about 350 by the time I took over. And by the time he came back 2.5 years later, there were 1,200 members at the club. So I grew it by about 7 times while he was gone. And shortly, about 1.5 years after that, we had so much success with that gym that we opened up a second location. So, basically it was me. I mean, it was a crazy thing. I would bring all the reports from the gym to my dad when I would go visit him, and we would go over everything and come up with membership ideas, and I would go back and put them into place. And, I remember, driving membership up. I remember one day I just created a one-day special. It was a beautiful day. The gym was in Old City. It was called Old City Ironworks. It's no longer there anymore. It was between Arch and Race on 3rd Street, right in the heart of Old City, when there weren't too many gyms in the city at this time. We opened in 1998. And we sold in 2003. And I remember taking a stool and I sat outside, and I was handing out flyers that just today, $99 for 3 months. And I remember I signed up 33 people that day. And 33 people translated in almost $3,000 of sales just for that one day, from me having the idea of just selling a $99 for 3-month membership. I loved it. It forced me to grow up really fast. I mean, imagine you're 19 years old, you're going to school full time, and you're running, a $250,000 a year business, with your mom. And, the members are all older. They're all, young business professionals, young doctors. Everyone's like, 10 years older than me, 7 years older than me. So I was forced to grow up because I had to deal with older people. But it was a great experience for me, because that's where the entrepreneur actually came out in me, because I was learning okay stuff in school, but what I was learning hands-on at the gym, I mean, just completely opened my eyes to, what entrepreneurship is, and being a business owner, and creating income. That's where it came from.
So going hand in hand with what you said about dealing with young professionals and just people who are successful in life, one of my mentors at the real estate office actually remembers you and used to work out at your gym back in the day.
Right.
Pretty crazy how it's such a small world.
It is. Philadelphia is it's a big city, but it's a very, very small community of people. That gym was a staple for many years, and we ended up selling it to another family who, unfortunately, it didn't go as planned for them. They ended up having to close the gym about 4 years later. but we already moved on to other things. But it was an amazing experience for me. Just waking up at 5 a.m, going to school from 8 to 12, driving right to the gym, and being at the gym from 12 to 8. That was my life till I graduated college.
And so you end up selling the gyms 2 years later. Do you basically have $1 million liquid in your checking account?
Liquid in my checking account. I remember we went to Barclay Prime for lunch that day to celebrate. And
What's Barclay Prime?
Barclay Prime, it's a first class steakhouse establishment right by City Hall. So the lawyer's office we were at. And I was 24, so I didn't, when you hear $1 million, like you think that's like $1 billion at that point, because I was 3 years removed from college, and to be where I was to where I am at that point, but again, you're in a family business, and you trust certain people and certain decisions, and we actually didn't open up the gym right away. We actually chilled for about a year, and just kind of decided what we wanted to do. And then the idea was to open up an even bigger gym, which we did. It was basically the size of both of the gyms we sold in one, and that's where I'm at right now in East Falls. But yeah, seeing the liquid, seeing the 7 figures, it was pretty surreal. It didn't compute because I wasn't looking for it. It just kind of like happened, and we're like, okay, we're selling the gyms for $1 million. Like, now what? But you never know what roads are gonna appear that you go down, and I never knew it would lead me to where I am now. But everything happens for a reason.
So you took that profit, you reinvested that into an even bigger gym, just looking to create synergy. 2 + 2 = 7. And
Yes.
How did you end up losing it?
So, nowadays when people open up gyms, you can actually open a gym with, all refurbished equipment. Back when we opened up East Falls, it was the end of 03 going into 04, and it was all brand new equipment. So basically the build out, the equipment, everything to get that gym going was $700,000, which basically left us with $300,000. So between that and other things that we had to get, all the money, instead of borrowing from the assets, we actually used the liquid to invest back into the gym. What we thought as far as projections of how the gym was going to grow was completely off. We showed a loss of almost $300,000 each of the first 2 years. We priced the gym out the wrong way because of the area that we moved into. It wasn't like Old City. Old City was a prominent, flourishing, upper middle class area, and we came to a medium income household area in East Falls, and we were just so used to Old City. It was just so new to us. Loans had to be taken out to keep things afloat. And before I knew it, going into our 3rd year, with loans and everything keeping us afloat, we were 1.6 million in debt. The first $1 million was gone, and then there was another 600,000 in loans taken out between myself, my cousin, some family members. My grandmother did a reverse mortgage on her house. My grandfather took out a personal loan. So there was a lot of people that were involved. I mean, it was we were in desperate times because we needed to make this thing work. And I tell you these things to not impress you, but impress upon you that everyone thinks like when you own a business, it's all rainbows and lollipops. And it was actually the most stressful time in my life because you control your own fate or destiny. And when you go from 7 figures and 24 months later, negative 7 figures, and then you're basically just crawling out of that hole, it's a real big gut check that you have to just kind of do what it takes to make it work. And that's when I had to draw a lot of my attention to other means of income.
So everyone's basically taking money out of everywhere to just save this business. Was there anything that you guys were doing wrong outside of location? How did you eventually fix the problem?
So what it came down to was the initial investment of opening the club, how the club was opened. But more so, it also had to do with the price point of where we stuck the gym at. We basically cut the amount that we were charging in half at a certain point, and that's when membership started to really happen. So, after the first 4 years of showing negative, we actually started to turn a profit, a slight profit in the fifth year. I mean, slight, I'm meaning like a couple $1,000s. But, at that point, the damage was done.
Yeah.
People were now, paying back their loans. I still to this day, I have never taken a paycheck from that gym. Not once. All of the income that's ever been made in that gym has been paid to my landlord and to my employees and to my vendors. That is why I had to really, really put the pedal to the metal with personal training, and I was able to create a six-figure income as a personal trainer, which is difficult, because people hear six figures as a personal trainer. That's great. It's not great. It's 320 hours of personal training a month. It's a lot.
It's crazy.
Yeah. It's real. It's how it goes sometimes, but I wasn't going to let it stop me. I was just going to keep pushing forward. I mean, I didn't know any different. So what happened to me, I didn't compare myself to anyone else. I just said, all right, this is the situation. There's wall kicking moments all the time, but it's either you keep pushing forward or you let those moments keep you where you are. And I just kept pushing forward.
I mean, so based on the experience that you've had, I'd say those were definitely huge lessons learned. What would be your piece of advice to someone who's very, very passionate about health and wellness, but they're also looking to build a business and create a lot of profit for themselves? And today's day and time, everyone wants to be that guy on social media with millions of followers and a top sponsorship from Arvin Lal's Shreds company. I mean, do you have any insight on that?
Yeah, I mean, one of my good buddies is a Shreds athlete, and I'm very happy for him. He's also in my business with me in my global wellness business. He's doing both, but that's his story, not mine. Any advice that I can give for anyone, and especially health and wellness professionals, because I do work with a lot of health and wellness professionals, coaching them in their businesses. The one lesson that I've really learned is that success really comes from what you put into something. And what I realized is that having a big gym or having a personal training studio is basically, it was my ego. It was my ego getting in the way so I could stand there and say, I own a gym. I'm a gym owner. And I really, but because it felt good to say, what do you do for a living? Oh, I own a gym. No big deal. I own a gym. So I look back to the younger me, and I would rather do what I'm doing now, which is outside of my gym. I have 3 other successful businesses where there's only one person to report to, and that's me. There's no rent, there's no utilities, there's no payroll. So any health and wellness professional out there that's really looking to make a name for themselves, everything is going on the internet. Everything is going that direction. The brick and mortar way of doing things, it's going away. And for anyone that has that idea of wanting to open up their own studio, and I tell people this: if you're a personal trainer and you're training at someone else's studio, or you're training at a gym, and you're only paying like a small monthly fee to train there, stay. Don't let your ego get in the way and say, you know what, I have a great clientele. I have a great clientele base right now. I'm just going to go out on my own. I'm going to open up my own studio. I'm going to train people there, because you know what? You go from paying $300 to $400 a month at that gym to now having to pay $1,000 to $2,000 a month for your rent, $200 to $500 a month for your utilities, And that's just to break even. So you've almost tripled, not even almost quadrupled your nut for every month. So when you go online or when you stay where you are, do that. And the one thing that a lot of health and wellness professionals don't realize is that they become a one-trick pony. And that was the biggest lesson that I learned, because I woke up one day and I said, you know what, God forbid I can't train. I break my arm, I tear my knee. If I can't personal train, I have not $1 coming in, because I can't train people. The only way I was making money was personal training. And I went, believe it or not, Francis, I went 5 years without taking a vacation, because the fear of losing money for that week that I would go away was so great. Didn't want to risk it, because I knew I would just have to work double time to make it back. So having leveraged income where you can take your business wherever you go. And I was sitting on a plane today and I was talking to people, the people next to me, they're like, what are you doing? I said, working, and I was doing some meal plans and I was sending out some messages, setting up some calls. And that's the luxury of having an online business. You don't need to be there in person. People think that you need to be there in person to motivate, to drive, and to get your clients results. Like, you literally have to hold their hands. Instead of being a trainer, instead of being a personal trainer, be a personal teacher. Teach people how to be healthy. Don't train people to be healthy, because then they become dependent upon you. You want to develop people that are self-sufficient, not self-reliant on you. And that's the one thing that I tell every client that hires me to do their online training. I'm going to teach you what I do so you can become a self-sufficient person in the kitchen and in the gym.
So Scott, you've obviously seen massive success just assisting people towards their health goals. What are some secrets that you have for people to be able to maintain their best physical shape? What's some of the top advice that you give to your clients? I mean, 30,000 hours, it's 3 times Malcolm Gladwell's 10,000 hour rule.
So, I tell people consistency is the key. And, did I have some cake tonight? Yeah, absolutely. It's my birthday, so I'm going to treat myself. Do I have a craving for ice cream? Tara will tell you, yeah, I'm always asking to go to Yogurt Land. I mean, but it's the 80-20 rule. And I tell this to everyone: as long as you're maintaining a healthy balance of a life between what you should and should not be doing, you're never going to be in bad shape. And everyone thinks that they have to work out harder to get in better shape. I did some amateur bodybuilding for about 3.5 years, and working out 3 hours a day and prepping 8 to 10 meals a day, and it got daunting. I started to really just get turned off by the whole thing, because it wasn't fun. And what I realized, the more that you can enjoy what you eat and enjoy what you do in the gym, I work out half that. Maximum, I'm working at an hour, max, sometimes 35, 40 minutes. And that's all I require at this point. And I'm not prepping my meals, with my global wellness company, I don't have to prep as much as my stuff. So what I tell people is, find something that works for you. And I tell people all the time, if you're going to eat a certain way and it's going to return you great results and it's going to have you feeling a certain way and looking a certain way, why would you ever stop? So I always try to set people up with something that's sustainable. There's no such thing as a diet. When people hear diet, they correlate that with lack thereof, meaning they're not allowed to. I just say, I teach people how to live a healthy lifestyle. So for anyone that's looking to really get in their best shape of their life, one, it's not going to happen overnight. I've been working on my body for 18 years. 2, you got to find something that works for you. Look at some of the things that people are doing around you, and don't make assumptions, but also don't tell yourself you can't eat chicken every day or you can't have eggs every day. It's just an excuse. If you want your body to look a certain way, you absolutely have to give up certain things that are not going to help it along. So I made the choice for myself. I may never step on stage again, but I am always going to make sure that I am eating clean, eating healthy, enjoying life, so that when I do go out to dinner and I do want dessert, I can have it and not feel guilty that it's going to do something to me the next day. I just pick up right where I left off again.
And that just goes back to sustainability and just maintaining it over a long period of time. No bad days, right?
Yeah, you can have a cheat meal here and there, but what's the point? You end up feeling so bad, and then you start beating yourself up, and then you start think, oh, what's the point now? I already ruined it. I might just toss it all away. No, you give your body what it wants, every once in a while, but you come up with a healthy plan for yourself. This is about longevity, and when you stop making it about you and you make it about everybody else, like, I want to be the healthiest I can for my family and my son. So, I want to look and feel good to be a good example for him and to show him exactly what's capable.
Absolutely. Just being a really, really good role model and standing in integrity.
Absolutely.
So, question for me. So this morning, this is probably like one of the busiest days that I've ever had. But
Right.
one of my health goals are to gain weight. I would last month I was probably 176 pounds.
Okay.
Weighed myself today 168. I work out 5 times a week. My problem is, like, today I woke up at 5, didn't get back home till 10:30. I'm having problems eating enough food. What would be
Right. So, you're like me. You're a quote unquote hard gainer, right?
Yeah.
So so for me, what I make sure that I do is I really try to plan. Trying to find an outlet for my computer. It's about to die. I try to find, ways to get all of my stuff in. So for me, I absolutely utilize shakes. I utilize bars. I will pre-prep. I'll pre-prep some of my meals, and I'll take containers with me to wherever I am. So I always plan ahead. So I travel a lot. I travel 2 weeks out of the month. So I try to utilize things that are good for me. But for someone like you that, you never want to skip meals. You always want to make sure that you're eating every 2 to 3 hours, no less than 2 hours, no more than 3 hours. So I always tell people something's better than nothing. And I know that sometimes people don't want to rely on a meal replacement bar or shake, but in my experience in doing this for almost 20 years, it's always better to have something at that point than waiting another 2 or 3 hours till you can get a real meal. Does that make sense?
It absolutely does.
So you really just have to make sure that you plan ahead as best you can each and every day. I'm a very scheduled person from the minute I wake up to the minute I go to bed. So I know exactly what I'm going to have tomorrow. And I don't meal prep all of my meals, but for someone like you that's a real estate agent where you're always on the go and you're always, moving and grooving, you can easily take a couple containers of some grilled chicken, make sure it's cooked, put it over a bed of greens, and you can just eat it right in your car if you wanted to. I mean, you do what you have to do with the time that you have.
Absolutely.
So, it's feeding the machine. Your body is a machine. It's not going to work unless it has fuel, and your food is your fuel. So, I met my my family for dinner tonight, and my sister got there around the same time that I did, and she goes, "This is the first time I'm eating all day." I said, "Blair, it's 6 o'clock at night. What do you mean it's the first time you're eating all day?" She goes, "I was too busy." That right there, people think that it's better not to eat than to. You do so much damage to your body when you starve it, because it goes for what you don't want it to go to. So if you're already low in body fat like you are, it's going to go to your muscles and it's going to eat itself. So sometimes, like today, it was a travel day for me. So I was on a plane for 5 hours. I had a shake this morning, and I had a bar and a shake on the plane for those 2 other meals that I was on there. And then I had a couple food meals when I got home. So I made sure that my body was getting something in that time.
So you have to plan ahead. It's just like anything else. People have no problem planning their day for their job, but when it comes to themselves personally, they put themselves last. You got to put yourself first, because the better you feel and the better fueled you are, the more productive a person you're going to be.
Wow, and that was very, very powerful. Thank you so much for that advice, Scott. I mean, you taking the time out of your day on your birthday to share knowledge with people. One last thing, if someone's looking to work with you, if someone's looking to get into the best shape of their life,
right,
what would be the best way for someone to go and contact you?
You can find me on Facebook, Scott Aaron. It's ScottAaron, or you can go to my direct website, which is scottaaron.net. That's ScottAaron.net. And I have everything that I do on there for online business stuff and just regular online personal training and nutritional coaching. I do train people to get on stage. I have 4 girls right now training to get on stage for some bikini shows. So if you have a goal like that, that's something I can do. I'm on Twitter, Philly Fit Guy, Instagram. You can find me anywhere. I'm all over the place. LinkedIn. Just find me at one place. You can find me on all of them.
Awesome, Scott. Well, I'm very grateful for you taking the time out of your day, and then looking forward to the next time you and Joe D grab dinner in the city too.
Absolutely, brother.
Catch you later, man.
You got it, Francis.
Bye.
Bye-bye.